Okay, next we have basic clock exercises, first grade level. Practice writing the time for a half hour and an hour later from the given time. Parent or tutor will write a time on the lines. Student will write the time in appropriate space showing a half hour later and an hour later. So what we have to do is simply put a time, and AM and PM doesn't matter so much at this point. So let's just write 5:30 here. Okay, one time at a time, okay? A specific time, let's do it one at a time. So in this column here, we're just gonna focus on 5:30, okay? Just for these two rows here. Okay, a half hour, so now it is 5:30. A half hour later, it is. So you can have the student use the clock. They have a handheld clock inside of the box. I have a bigger clock. So we want to have the student show 5:30 with the 5 being the hour hand pointing to the 5, and it really is between 5 and 6, and then 30. Make sure that the student knows how to show 5:30. Now again, the hour hand will be in between the 5 and 6, really midpoint, okay? So midpoint. Then the minute hand should be pointing to the 6 for 30, okay? All right, now half hour later, let's go a half hour, which is 30 minutes. It will be 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, okay? It was 5:30, so now a half hour later, it will be 6 o'clock, okay? Just 6. An hour later, we're going to just add 1 to the hour, which the hour is 5. We want to make it 6:30. Okay? And then you can make up 2 more times below. All right? So let's just try, let's just say 2. Just 2. Okay? Half hour later, have the student show you 2 o'clock on the clock. Show you 2 o'clock. The hour is on 2 and the minute is on 12. Exactly. Okay. Then we're going to say a half hour later, we got to go down to the 6, which also moved the hour hand between the 2 and the 3. So 2:30. And an hour later would be 3 o'clock. And each time you want to have the student to demonstrate this, okay? We can do 12 o'clock. All right, a half hour later, it will be 12:30. An hour later, 1. All right, and then you got a whole nother column here. Make up some more times. 8 o'clock. Okay. And then how about half hour later, 8:30. And each time you want to have the student practice on their mini clock that they have. An hour later, that's your hour. Right there, 8 o'clock. 8 is your hour. So let's have them write 9 o'clock. Okay? So, again, we just want to really stick with hours and not so much, 7:15 or at the quarter or what have you, or 45-minute mark. We want to stick with 3 o'clock, on the nose, or 30 minutes after, okay? We don't want to do too much 15s and 45s with this for first grade, okay? If you think your child or the student is able to do that, then you can do that. But fill in the sheet. All right, let's give another time. Let's say 7 o'clock. Okay, a half hour later will be 7:30. An hour later is 8 o'clock. And then lastly, let's just do 2 o'clock. Okay, now it is 2 o'clock. Read with your child. A half hour later, it is 2:30. An hour later, it is 3 o'clock. So again, write it here. If you have to show it on the actual clock, you have a mini clock, show it and fill it in. All right, this is your first grade level basic clock exercises. And again, we just want to stick to the hour or the half hour when making examples. And then having the student go a half hour later and an hour later. We don't want to write 5:15 or 5:45. We want to stick with the hour and the half hour for first grade. Okay? Now, if your child is advanced and you want to try the 15 later, starting out with that, that's fine. Okay? But for first grade, let's just stick with the hour and the half hour when writing our times. And we are not so focused on the AM or the PM at this point. All right. But again, if you want to explain that, we all know AM is morning, PM is afternoon. Okay. Starting with 12 PM. All right. So much for the basic clock exercises, first grade level. All right, making math count.